Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of Effortless. I am your host today, Piddle. With me is Dr. Spiegel.
Welcome to the effort list.
And today we have
You
a
better
very
check
special...
the effort list. If you are naughty or nice, you'll get twice the effortless.
Twice the effort? Or
No,
lack of effort?
twice the effortless, because this is a special two-part episode because we have so much to talk about.
Bam! I was about to say that. You beat me to it.
It's a really good segue, right?
Stealing my thunder already.
I love it.
Don't like this.
That's just how it's been since day one. We've done 25 episodes of this crap. It's just always been that way.
And we're still going strong.
Oh,
sort of.
yeah.
Or we're just like sputtering and who knows.
Well, you know.
So, I have some great news. Finally called Nintendo, and I am going to get my gamepad fixed.
Very nice. Very nice.
They have given me a shipping label. I will be shipping it out later today, and I will get a gamepad back to me, and I'm very excited because I counted it up. I have 7 games that I cannot play until my gamepad is fixed. 7.
And what games are those?
Oh man, now you're putting me on the spot because I don't have them written down.
Well, we know
But it's
Bayonetta is one, Splatoon.
Yes, Bayonetta 1 and 2 because I refused to play 2 until I played number 1.
So I guess that counts.
So Splatoon, and there is Pikmin 3, Wonderful 101. No, I'm missing something in there.
You've got some fantastic games there. You can stop there.
Yeah. So I got a lot. Super Mario Maker for sure.
Oh, so really quick, what exactly did you tell Nintendo that because you had quite a triumph. You managed to do this for free. Nintendo is fixing your gamepad for free. How did you do that?
I pretty much told them that when it originally broke, it was under warranty. They didn't have any record of that, unfortunately. But it was under warranty. And I told them that, I just never got around to it because at the time I was working on playing Skyward Sword. It was just already such a huge hassle. I had called them and they were going to fix it, but they also wanted me to send in my console too. And I wasn't at home because at that point I was just not home a lot. But I had quickly grabbed the serial number to my gamepad. So I gave them that, and they're like, yeah, but we want your console too. And I'm like, I don't have that number on me. I only have my gamepad number on me. And
they don't have the same serial number? That's weird.
Yeah. It was already like a 30-minute conversation, and you know what? Isn't it just like the worst dealing with customer service sometimes, and like trying to get something taken care of? It just takes forever. Every single time you call customer service, doesn't matter who it is, it always takes forever.
So how long did this little interaction last?
This one time actually only took about 15 minutes.
Oh, that's really nice.
Because I was just sort of like, you know what, I dealt with this before, and the whole reason, or one of the reasons I didn't call back is because it's just such a hassle to call customer service. I want this taken care of quickly. And I told him that, yeah, I'm a longtime fan. I'm clearly a fan because I own a bunch of games that I can't even play because I don't have a gamepad. And
did you tell them that you're a fan that does an internet show that fluffs their products incessantly to their customers?
No, I did not. I should have. They probably would have
Effortless on their phone call. They are recorded. We might have got Nintendo to check us out. Oh well.
They might have just sent me a brand new Wii U or something. Who knows? So
maybe they're listening right now.
Just played up I'm a longtime fan, and I have a bunch of games that I can't play right now, and I've been continuing to buy games despite not being able to play them. Threw in a little bit in there about how I don't buy their games used. Because honestly, what's the point? Like, what's the point in buying their games used?
They're the same price.
I know. It's like $5 cheaper. In fact, Pikmin 3, you try to buy Pikmin 3 right now, it's $60.
It's $60. It's great.
$60.
I saw it the other day. It was amazing.
And, I just wonder what games like Pikmin 3 and the Wonderful 101 that require the gamepad and probably are not going to be very easily ported over unless like maybe you're using a second screen. But even then, I don't think they'll really work. Do you?
I think Pikmin 3 could be ported, because you can use the Pro Controller on that. So I think you could easily... I didn't even know you needed the gamepad to start that one because you can easily use the Pro Controller on it. So
yeah.
No, but I mean,
But
there will be games that will not be easily ported, especially without the gamepad, which is why I think the NX will be backwards compatible. But we're not talking about the NX. We're talking
oh
about
yeah,
something
we're
else.
not talking about that yet.
Not right now.
Go away. Go away. First, I want to talk about something else, and that is the Wii U still, and how it has sold this Christmas season so far. Now, what would you say if I told you that Target report, or according to Target, their top 3 sales for Black Friday, one of them was like the iPhone or something like that. The other wasn't the iPad,
Mobile
and
strikes
then
again.
and then the Wii U Splatoon Smash Brothers 4 bundle.
So, first of all, I would say that you're a dirty liar, but we know this is true because we've seen many articles about it. And incidentally, I mean, this I think proves to me more than anything that Nintendo, as much as people want to pretend that they are irrelevant in the gaming industry, they are still very much relevant. Gamers still want their games, and when presented with an opportunity to get 2 of the best games on the system, Splatoon and Smash Brothers, both fantastic games to play with other people, they snapped them up like there was no tomorrow.
What amazes me the most about this is the Xbox One. I believe you can get 3 games essentially for the price of $300, or you could for Black Friday. So you could get the console and 3 games for $300. The Splatoon Smash Brothers 4 bundle was $250. So, like, just think about that. It's a $50 difference. You're getting one less game. But, I mean, Splatoon and Smash 4, I think what this goes to show is that Splatoon it came out at sort of an inopportune time. That is sort of what I'm taking from this report, is that it came out at an inopportune time. And now that the Christmas season is sort of here, kids have heard about Splatoon all summer long. They were going into their local game stores and saying, hey, is Splatoon available for the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One? And you had the employees going, no.
That is very accurate.
So they
Yes.
go home to their parents and they say, hey, I want Splatoon, but they don't have an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4. So, the parent just writes that up. All right, we'll get this for them for Christmas because I'm not going to spend $250 on a console in the middle of summer.
No, I think you're right. I don't necessarily think it came at an inopportune time. Could you imagine how much Splatoon would have gotten swallowed up in this holiday season?
That's actually true.
Xenoblade Chronicles X is going to be an amazing game, and that's just been eaten by all like Fallout and Star Wars Battlefront, and like there's just no marketing for it because the stores don't have room for it. And Splatoon's marketing was pretty good and pretty visible in all these stores. So I think they did a good job with that, and I think it came out at the right time. It was a very summery type of game, and I think they're going to be able to take advantage of it this Christmas as Wii U sales are going to continue to improve, probably over last year, which is bizarre because it's a dead console, but it is what it is.
And speaking of, well, you say it's a dead console, but maybe it's not. If we're talking about Splatoon and Smash 4 sort of pushing those holiday sales to this extent.
When I say dead console, I mean dead in terms of potential. Like there's no potential left for it to be this juggernaut of a thing that like just destroys everything in its path. Like we thought after Mario Kart came out last year that maybe Wii U had a chance to like kind of gain back some of its market share because it sold so well, but it never really followed. It had a lot of great games to follow up on that momentum, but it never actually did, which is unfortunate. Then that's what I mean when I say it's a dead console.
And I think the nail in the coffin actually in terms of it being dead, and I don't want to admit it's dead because it's still showing that it can sell. But recently it was sort of revealed that, or this is by Digitimes, and Digitimes reported that the NX might be gearing up for production, mass production, sometime this upcoming summer.
I saw. Wait, what? Let me get the article here and like read the actual quote because I thought it was sooner than that.
And I think they're talking about up to 20 million units.
Oh, here we go.
And I think the general number is 10 to 12 million.
Nintendo's new game console is scheduled to enter mass production at the end of the first quarter 2016. And despite the fact that the Japan-based company is targeting to ship 20 million in 2016, the device's upstream component suppliers expect shipments to reach 10 to 12 million units, which is still pretty impressive. Remember, the Wii U has not yet sold 11 million units.
Yeah.
So,
This is,
I mean,
like, they're talking about
after Black
producing-
Friday, it
yeah,
has.
they're talking about shipping more units than the Wii U has sold.
And then Digitime's research says that they expect Xbox One to ship 13 million and PS4 to ship 18 million, which if Nintendo can ship 10 million of their new console next year, that's pretty competitive, especially considering it only have less than half of the year to do so. If we're not going to see this thing until like late summer or maybe like late fall even, that would be very impressive to ship 10 million units.
I am very excited by this news. I don't really have much to say about it other than I think it pretty much confirms the NX is going to come next year.
I mean, this is just a rumor, so be careful.
Rumors. I think it has to come out at this point. I mean,
No, you're right.
The Wii U, it is dead, and I think one of the things that sort of points to that is if you look at Wii U sales when two of the biggest titles of the year came out, Splatoon and Super Mario Maker came out. When those two titles came out, the bump in sales was non-existent.
The
doesn't even
games
exist.
sold a ton of units. The games themselves, the software did fantastic.
The games sold a ton, but the console sales didn't see an increase or bump. They just kept chugging along at a regular tick.
40 million or 40,000 a week or whatever it was.
Yeah. So I mean it's time for a new system, and I'm just still really curious what we're going to see from the NX.
I hope that they have some sort of thing that like keeps Wii U owners from feeling like they were burned by it, because like I don't know, I don't feel burned because I bought the thing in like early 2013. I had
I bought
almost
it
a full
launch.
lifespan here. So it's just like I don't feel burned at all because I had the full experience. But what if you're someone who bought a Wii U like this year for Splatoon and you're just playing like all the games now? I mean, I would feel kind of screwed if the new console came out next year. So I think they will do something to like placate those people. I'm just not sure what it is.
I don't think it's going to be that bad just because they've only sold 11 million units. I mean, you're looking at 11 million people that might be a little upset out of a industry where, I mean, you can sell up to 100 million units. So if you're looking at big picture, I don't think it really hurts them that much to sort of move on from now. And yeah, some of those 11 million people will be upset.
I mean, understand this: 5 million of those 11 million people are hardcore Nintendo fans.
Yeah.
There's probably 5 million hardcore Nintendo fans that own this console.
Yeah, and plenty of them are just going to say, you know what, I'm going to buy the next console anyway. I don't care. I love Nintendo. So I don't think it
you're
really
probably right.
hurts Nintendo. I think it'd be a different case if the console sold like 20 million or 20 million and Nintendo's already cutting the plug or pulling the plug. But 10 million, 11 million, that's not enough to really make a difference, I feel like.
So,
speaking of Splatoon,
I don't know where you're going with that.
I know that you consider Splatoon your game of the year, correct?
Yes. So far, Splatoon has been my game of the year for 2015. And I know where you're going with this. Okay. Go
And
ahead. Wow.
I mean, it's a long way until we get to this, but just so everybody knows, we are still working on our game of the year segments for every year leading up to this year's.
Yeah, I'm not
Game of
sure.
the Year.
I'm not sure if I mentioned it on the last show, but we started workshopping it, and then it was just like, why don't
Yes,
we
you
just
did.
get everybody involved, like everybody on the ZBN, and we can all like sort of nominate our games and like pick our favorite ones. And of course, everyone is making bad decisions except me. Like who
And
votes?
me.
Who votes for Super Mario Brothers instead of the Oregon Trail? Have you played the Oregon Trail? It's
Great
freaking
game.
amazing.
It is a great game.
Super Mario
And
Brothers is
I'm going to be
garbage.
honest, Super Mario Brothers is, I mean, it's really solid,
It's
but
fine.
it's not really amazing.
No, I mean, especially since Super Mario Brothers 3 was on the same console. Like,
Yeah.
here you have this console that, you know, it's a brand new it's a brand new system. You know, you have all these games, and Super Mario Brothers is the first like game on it that's like really a big blockbuster that like every kid owned, and it was great and it was fantastic at the time. But then you have a game that comes by on the exact same console and surpasses it to the point where now the original Super Mario Brothers basically only has nostalgia value. You don't go back and say like, oh, I want to play Super Mario Brothers. You want to play Mario 3 if you're going to play it.
Yeah,
So-
when you go back to play the NES and to play the best platformers out there, the first Super Mario Brothers is not your first choice. There are plenty of other games that you're going to pick over it.
There's Super Mario Brothers 2, there's Super Mario Brothers 3, both of which you played for your
Yes.
52 games in 52 weeks. These segues are incredible today.
And yep, speaking of that 52 out of 52.
For those of you who don't know, we are playing 52 games in 52 weeks. We are doing a fantastic job, much better than I thought we would, in an attempt to clear our backlogs a little bit.
So for whatever reason, I decided to play Super Mario Brothers 2 a couple weeks ago,
Is that an official replay for you?
and it is an official replay for me.
Okay.
I know I'm sort of racking up the replays
You get 13.
the last 2 weeks, I guess, since I did 2 replays, and I sort of just played it just to sort of screw around, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna beat it. Like, why not? So I continued to play it, and I'm not very good at Super Mario Bros. 2. I actually failed a couple times. And I sort of, when I replay those old games, I go through with the intent of playing every level. So I skip all the warps. When I replayed Super Mario Brothers earlier this year, I did not use the warps. I didn't just go from like level 1-2 to level 4-1 and then from 4-2 to 8-1. I went through every single level so that I played the full game. And that's the same case with Super Mario Brothers 2. I played through the full game. I played through Toad the whole way. And I'm just utterly garbage at this game. I don't think I would have beat it if not for the fact that I got really lucky with one of the bonus coins, and I got like 10 extra lives from like getting a triple cherry, and then just like getting lucky and getting that first cherry and 2 other ones so that I could get like a free life every single time. Do you remember that at all?
No, you know what? I've played Super Mario Brothers 2, but I've never gotten far enough. Like, I've never played it enough to really get perspective on the game as a whole. So I cannot count it as a game that I have beaten. So
I'm terrible at
I
those.
don't even know what you're talking about.
I'm terrible at those patch a slot mini games. Shout out
Oh,
to
is that
Konami.
why you hate? Is that why you hate them so much?
Yeah. You know, it's weird because when the original Pokemon Red Blue came out, I was so good at the
slot
game area.
Yeah, dude, I dominated those.
Yeah, I had no problem with it. And then like the remake came out, and I don't know if they changed it or not. I'd have to actually go back and play. But when I played the remake, I had such a difficult time with those slots. I was just like, you know what? I need this Pokemon, so I'm just gonna start buying coins and just sell everything.
Did you know that in the newer Pokemon games where they've had like game corners and stuff, like the remakes, they have shut them down? The game corners like no longer do that. They like do something else. It's not gambling anymore. It's like mini games or something. And you can like
Interesting.
Because they're like, oh, it's a bad example for kids to like show adults gambling. But I thought it was a good thing in those original games because like you'd go into this house at the bottom of like Celadon City and there'd be this guy who's like, I lost everything. Here, take the coin case. I don't want it anymore. I think it was a good thing for like kids to know that like you could lose everything gambling. But apparently that was not the point of that game.
Well, anyway, let's get back to
No, we need to talk
topic.
about Nintendo's morals some more and how they how they frickin' censor everything when they bring it to the West.
Whatever. Who cares?
I do. My perverted Japanime mind cares.
With Super Mario Brothers 2, I'm going back to it, Spiegel. Sorry. I like don't know what to rate this game because it just does. The fact that it doesn't feel like a Mario game because you jump on the enemies and pick them up, just it feels so wrong that it's hard to give it a good score. Like I never liked Super Mario Brothers 2 when I was playing and I was younger. Never liked it. And even now it still sort of rubs me the wrong way. But it is a good game. I mean, it has a lot to it. You get to explore the doors and where you place them and the hidden portals. There's a lot there, and we're finding all the mushrooms so that you can expand your health. Boss battles are pretty good. The different characters and how they act differently, like Luigi jumps super high but floats and is a little slidey in his controls. Toad picks everything up really quickly, but has an awful jump.
It's funny how things like that kind of made their way into more modern Mario games, especially with Mario 3D World. That game is like an expansion pack for Mario 2 with the way those characters are.
Right?
Yeah, it's really weird.
Or Peach's great hover ability, which, I mean, we've seen it move forward through like the Super Smash Brothers series.
Super Princess Peach.
Yeah, Super Princess Peach.
All those games. All those
And
great Nintendo classics.
and of course Birdo is in every single Mario Tennis or Mario sports game
Is
there is
Birdo
right
in
now.
Mario Tennis Ultra Smash?
I don't know. Maybe not.
Screw that game.
Yes, screw that game. So I don't know. Like other than the picking everything up, I think it's still a really, really good game. It's not quite great for me. Um, I think it just ramps up in difficulty a little bit too much in areas, and then it's a little bit too easy in other areas. I had a heck of a time beating Wart, for the record. I lost so many lives trying to kill Wart. So I was gonna give it a 3, but objectively, it's not that bad of a game. It's a good game. It has pretty solid design, so I think I have to give it a 4 out of 5.
It's pretty high praise. And what I've played, I enjoyed. It was just like I never really got into it to like keep going. But it's hard to go back and like play an NES game and like really get invested in it because it sort of just feels like a novelty these days, which is why I was so happy that I loved Shovel Knight. And I think the original Legend of Zelda also hit me at just the right time. Otherwise, I might have hated it. So
So I'll talk real quick about Super Mario Brothers 3 too.
well,
Since
don't I
played
get
that.
to do? Okay, fine.
No, I'm gonna skip over you. I'll let you
Okay.
talk about 2 games.
That's
just trying to keep on the Mario bandwagon right here. So yeah, going from Super Mario Brothers 2, I started playing Super Mario Brothers 3 because now I've already played Super Mario Brothers. I've played Super Mario Brothers 2, this 52. So you know what? Why not? Let's play Super Mario Brothers 3. And compared to Super Mario Brothers 2 and 1, Super Mario Brothers 3 is so good. I can't believe how good this game is. I can't believe the amount of variety it has. Even to this day, it blows me away how much variety is in Super Mario Brothers 3. And it doesn't need checkpoints because the levels are really short in the grand scheme of things. Some of the levels are a bit longer. And it's a game I actually wish I could forget everything and go back and play it, because finding all the secrets when I was younger was so satisfying, and now knowing where all the secrets are right now, like knowing where every hidden super power block is with 3 mushrooms or an awesome cool Tanuki suit or Hammer Brothers suit, I know where all that stuff is right now. So it lacks that sense of exploration, I feel like, for me now. But it doesn't really matter because the game mixes it up so much. I actually beat 2 of the Koopa, I don't know. What are they called?
I don't know. Koopa Kids.
The Koopa Kids or the Koopalings or whatever they are. I ended up beating a couple of them wearing one of the special suits. So I beat one of them using the Tanuki suit, and I beat one of them using the frog suit, which is really hard to do. And I tried to beat the final level using Frog Mario because I had a couple suits left over. Couldn't do it. Too hard. So, I don't know. If you haven't played Super Mario Bros. 3 yet, you really owe it to yourself. I think it's a better game than Super Mario World, personally.
I was going to ask you, since it is technically a 2-player game, when I come and visit you, when we do that live Effortless, like live and in-person show, are we going to play that together?
I think we should.
I've been holding off on it because of that.
I think we should. It's a
All
great
right.
game.
Excellent.
And it's so much fun to steal each other's cards in the classic Mario Brothers game.
Oh yeah, I mean, the thing is, I play this with my wife QJ all the time. Mario 3, we always like start it over, and like so I know the first 2 worlds just by heart. But after that, she just starts dying all the time, and it's not as much fun for me anymore because I have to I have to beat all the levels. So I might as well just be playing alone.
Yeah, it's actually weird. Like, I didn't remember being as good at Mario 3 as I apparently am, because I just tore through the game. Like, the levels didn't hold any level of difficulty for me unless like a couple of them where I tried to collect all the coins so I could get the either like White Mushroom House or the coin ship. Or no, the coin ship, you have to do something else. I don't even remember what you have to do for the coin ship. You have to like get a certain score or something like that. But I got pretty much every single mushroom house in the game.
Nice. Anyway, but yeah, so I'm excited to play it with some. I don't want to be mean, but like I'm excited to play it with someone who's more competent at Mario games. So,
Hopefully QJ doesn't hear that.
Well, she never listens to my show anyway, so whatever.
Ouch. So giving you a score,
QJ, by the way, is also going to have a 5 hours in going up on this channel in a little while here. So stay tuned for that.
So I'll give my score. It's a 5 out of 5.
Very nice.
Easily a 5 out of 5. I mean, I rank it ahead of Super Mario World. I actually sort of want to move it up on my list now that I've replayed it.
Sorry,
but it's sitting at 25 right now if you don't remember on my list. And I feel like I don't know. It's so hard. Like the more great games you play, the harder it is to make a list.
I think we're going to have to do a top 100 next year because I'm already like really struggling with what my top 50 is going to look like next year. I'm like, oh, I can't drop. Like I'm already considering dropping Shovel Knight off and it hasn't even been on it yet. So it's like we need to do a top 100.
Maybe. All right. So go ahead with a couple of the games that you played, Spiegel.
So I'll start. For those of you who don't know, or those of you who didn't like look at the title card for last week's episode, I bought an Xbox One last week, and I'm already very infuriated with the the install times and all that crap and how it's laid out because I don't even understand it. And Piddle and I like went through this whole thing about how I find where the achievements are and all that stuff. But bottom line is this rare replay game that I got with it is just so like unbelievably bigger and better than like what I expected. There's a ton of great games on here. I've been playing Conker's Bad Fur Day on and off. I'm gonna have to beat that pretty soon, actually.
I need to play that too.
But I did the same thing as you. I just started with Jetpack, and I played Jetpack, and it's just this classic. Is it an arcade game or was it like a MiC-2 or whatever that computer was?
It is a ZX Spectrum game.
ZX Spectrum, that's right. So Jetpack on ZX Spectrum. My only complaint with Jetpack, and we talked about this several episodes ago, is that Piddle and I had this argument outside of the show about whether or not it was a good thing that it was emulated exactly like it was back when you played it on the ZX Spectrum. I said I would have rather played the N64 version, which is included on Donkey Kong 64, because it's just better. It actually runs well. This runs like crap. It's always like flickering and there's like pop in and it freaks out. And I just like
the wonders of classic gaming.
And it's just like, yeah, the problems of gaming have never changed, by the way. They've always been the same. Pop in and it doesn't run well. But it's like, do I want to play the official like emulation of the game to like, experience it exactly as it was? I mean, they included the rewind feature, so it's not even exactly as it was.
Yeah, that's true.
So I mean,
did you use the rewind feature in order to beat Jetpack?
To beat it, no. I did get through all the levels, but in order to like, I just wanted to keep going and not have to like restart every time. Like in order to like get enough points to get that achievement, I used it for that. But anyway, bottom line, the game doesn't run very well, but it's still a great game. So I give it a 4 out of 5. It's a classic old game. Like you got to play it. You got to play Jetpack.
I don't remember what I gave it, but I think I gave it around a 4 out of 5 too.
I mean, it's a 4, right? I mean, it's not perfect. It's very simple. Yeah. It gets very repetitive, just like any old like classic arcade style game with a score. Yeah, but it's fun, and it's a fun game. So it's perfectly suited for mobile, and I bet it is on mobile somewhere.
So I have to ask, did you play Lunar Jetman after that?
I did not play Lunar Jetman. After that, man. I played Banjo-Kazooie, and it was
just
funny.
Wait until you can bang your head against the wall with Lunar Jetman.
It was funny. I played Banjo-Kazooie because you were complaining about it, and I'm like, I'm going to play it and prove that it's great. I went into work the next day, and my boss was like, so how are you liking your new Xbox One? I'm like, the first thing I did when I got home was I turned on the system, I installed all the updates, and then I went and I played a game that's 32 years old on it. That was the first game.
Isn't that wonderful?
It's great. And one thing I forgot to mention with Jetpack, you can turn on this filter that makes it look like you're playing on one of those old like
on a classic TV,
a tube TV. It's freaking amazing. I love that. It was just like I'm looking on my HD TV in like an old timey TV. It was fantastic.
I went back and forth quite a bit between those.
Oh yeah, no. Once I discovered that was a thing, I just stayed there. It was great. Anyway, so Banjo-Kazooie. I've talked about it. It's in my top 50. It's number, what was it, 21, I think. And it's still fantastic. It's still got all the classic charm. One thing I didn't like is that Microsoft removed any references to anything Nintendo in the entire game, which it's like seems a little cheap. Just because you own the company, you have to like remove all the history in the game too. I guess it doesn't make much sense to be advertising your competitor's product, but I don't know. But I still love.
What are you gonna do?
I still love Banjo-Kazooie anyway. I I'm not sure if I'd rather play it on N64, to be honest with you. Before, I thought maybe the problem you had with it was that the Xbox One controller was like no good for it, but honestly, I think it's more comfortable than the N64 controller, especially the joysticks, because they're better. So
I actually wondered that because there are some games that I've tried to play with analog controls that have been like ported over to Xbox or whatever, and then they just control completely differently. Like the virtual console games, Star Fox 64, for example, it feels so much more difficult to play on my Wii than it does with an N64 controller in my hand. But I think it's just something about the N64 controller, just the sensitivity of it just works.
Maybe, but bottom line, I did still really enjoy my Banjo-Kazooie experience. It's still incredibly difficult, but I 100% of the game, got all the secrets. I even went back. I got the ice key and all the stop and swap eggs. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to try to do stop and swap because Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts is freaking terrible. But I'm going to play that. I'm going to play that and finish it eventually one day too, just to torture myself. So we'll see. We'll see.
So what would you give it?
I would give it a 5 out of 5. And I mean,
still a 5?
No question. I mean, it's in my top 50. It pretty much has to. Yeah.
It's interesting looking back on the game, even with all the frustration, I completed so much of it that I'm really rethinking my review score of it. And I told you this already. Yeah. And I gave it a 3 out of 5 just for the record. And like the more I think about it, I was sort of compelled to keep playing it.
A 3 out of 5 seems extraordinarily low. I mean, it's rare that a great game like that, or a game that's universally loved, could get like such a low score from someone.
I feel like at some point I might look back at it and I might raise it up to a 4 out of 5 just because a 3 out of 5 just seems a little bit too low for me, like even now.
I think maybe you could go back and try it again in a year and see what you think.
That's a good idea.
Next year, replay.
Next year.
So that was 2 of mine. Moving on to, let's do another one of yours here.
So one of the other games that I played is in anticipation of a recent Xbox One release, and that is the reboot of Tomb Raider. And I played it on PC, even though I have Xbox Live Gold and I got it for free, or like the definitive edition through that. I played it through on PC because I loaded it up for some reason and found out, wait a second, I'm like a quarter of the way through the game. I may as well just like keep playing it. And the reason I stopped playing Tomb Raider Reboot in the first place is because at the beginning of it, Lara just whines so much that it grated on my nerves so much. Like I felt like my ears were bleeding every single time I heard her grunt or whatever, cry in pain. So
no, was it the voice acting, or was it just like the choice of like, oh, we're gonna have her do this here?
I think it was a bit of a combination.
Okay.
Of just because it's incessant. It never stops at the beginning of the game. Her complaining and just like, oh my gosh, what kind of situation am I in? And oh, I know I just got hurt by something that just stabbed through my stomach, and now I have to pull it out. And it was just it was
how
overboard.
Dare you complain about that? That I could get through that with no problem.
And that is not the case here. She just constantly goes at it. I think that's my only issue with it, is really the beginning of the game, because outside of that, this is a good game. Like, it is a really, really good game. The bow is extremely satisfying to use. And there's plenty of collectibles in the game, like, your typical go to this spot on the map and find the collectible. But I feel like Tomb Raider sort of handles it well. For all the collectibles you get, it's going to help you upgrade your character's weapons a little bit faster. So there's some incentive there, but you don't really need to upgrade your weapons necessarily. They upgrade at just to find pace, just from like the experience you get from fighting the enemies. And the collectibles, there's not too many of them. There are way too many games where there's just so many freaking collectibles to find throughout the world that it's just pointless. It's like, okay, so I found collectible number 1 out of 300. Like, what incentive is there for me to collect all of these other than a little 10 gamer score achievement? So I feel like Tomb Raider handles that very well. The combat is really good. The story is It's ho-hum. I really wish that there had been a little bit more with the supernatural stuff with it. I think the big thing is the environments are really well done. You revisit some of them and go through different parts. There's a lot more variety to it than I expected. The tombs, there's only 7 tombs, but I really like the puzzles in those tombs. And I don't know. For me, it's just a really good game. There's some reasons I would hold it back, like the voice acting. Towards the end, it gets a lot better because it's sort of a
They
tells
changed
a story.
voice actors halfway through the game. That's
No,
why.
it sort of tells the story of Laura's growth and how she became who she became. So you like feel like she's sort of a badass towards the end of the game.
She starts off as like this timid woman who just like, I don't know, whatever.
Who just grunts and screams way too much.
Yeah, who just grunts and screams too much, and then she turns to a badass who's like no longer grunting and screaming. She's
just like, I'm gonna take care of my stuff.
You're careful.
So overall, I got to give it a 4 out of 5. It's a game that you should play if you get the chance.
Very nice, very nice. All right, which one should I do next? I've got 2 here. Let's see. You've got an RPG. I've got an RPG. I'm gonna do my other one. Okay. So you guys are gonna really just like rip into me on this one, but I'm a gigantic football fan. We've talked about this on the show before. I love football. I hate my team, which is the Philadelphia Eagles, but I love football, and so it just seems to happen that every 2 to 3 years I get a craving to play a football game, and unfortunately, there's only one football game.
Oh,
so what am I supposed to do?
So you did get NFL 2K5. What happened to that?
I haven't even.
You returned it. That's right.
I was so burned by that experience that I just never even tried to get it again. I don't want to talk about it. We'll do it someday. But so I bought Madden 15 because it was like $10, and I get like a 25% discount on it, so it was like $7. And I actually played through a full season with my friend using 15-minute quarters, and like I really like realism in my sports games, so it's
the only way to do it.
I adjusted all the sliders to get like realistic stats, and we lost every single game in the entire season because this game is so hard when you're playing like realistically that it's just like we were ahead in like one game. We just could not get it going.
Ouch.
And it was like,
who did you play as? Was it a bad team at least?
We were Tampa Bay. We were trying to rebuild the franchise as the coach, and then we got fired at the end of the year because we lost all of our games. So it was like, well, I guess that's the end of that. So yeah, that's
great
kind
story.
of what's happening now.
You actually got fired. Well, I mean, you went 0-16. I don't think you can go 0-16 and not get fired.
No, you're right. And no, they were right to fire us, but it was just like, really? I mean, come on. Like we got this game to like rebuild the franchise, like, and we did all this scouting on all these players that we were going to draft at the end of the year, and then we got fired, and somehow we don't have any of that data anymore because I don't know. So we got hired to a new team because the game was like, you have to keep playing. So I guess we'll just hire you to some random team. We got hired to the Raiders. So now we're in year 2. Still have not won a game. We're only one game into the season though. So
I think that rebuilding franchises is like one of my favorite things to do in any kind of sports game. You just trade away all of the old players that have high stats.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And huge salaries, and you just trade for like every first round draft pick you can get, and
you
all
can make
the
all
young
these splashy like
the
free
league.
agent acquisitions and stuff like that. Actually, our draft went extremely well with the Raiders. We got in the 3rd round, we got this defensive tackle who had the highest overall rating in the draft, and we picked him out when we were scouting. We're like, this is the guy. We got him in the 3rd round, so we did a fantastic job.
And now that you've been fired, your virtual Tampa Bay Buccaneers will go on and become a great team.
You
turned them around.
We did turn them around. We got them a lot of good pieces. But no, we drafted with the Raiders, not with the Bucs. But anyway, so getting back to the actual gameplay, I've only played the franchise mode because screw everything else. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do Ultimate Team where you build with like legends and like regular players. I'm not into that. So franchise mode is, I mean, the thing about Madden is it's just like, it's this good, it looks like a great presentation and this great thing from the outside. But once you get in and you start looking at all the little things, like little things start to bother you. Jim Nance and Phil Simms are awful as commentators. The music is really just like 4 tracks that just repeat over and over again. And it's like the load times are just unimaginable. And,
Madden used to be how I got my music.
I mean, the animations used to be like, they look really good, like in the commercials and in previews, and even when like you play like a single game. But they're just not very good when you start seeing them over and over again. And it's just like the game deteriorates almost before your eyes as you play it, as you figure out all the little things that are wrong with it. And I was really.
I have one question to ask.
Yes.
Do the animations in Madden 15, do they still feel like there's just no power behind them? Because that is one of the most infuriating
they absolutely
things.
do. They did a really good job, I think, with
All right.
because they switched to a new physics system or whatever in 15, and I think they did a good job. And I want to get over with this because nobody wants to listen to me talk about Madden, but they did a pretty good job. It has all the same problems that like every Madden game of the past 10 years has had, which is it's just kind of mediocre under the hood. But on the surface, not a bad game. Not a bad game. And I was tempted to give it a 3, but I can't have that much fun with a game while losing in like over and over again and not give it a 4. So I gave it a 4. Probably the best Madden to be released since like 2010. And I think I've played all of them, even though I haven't owned all of them.
All right.
So
fair enough. And that's one of the things about those sports games. It's so hard to not give them good scores and keep playing them because they're fun, even if they could be a lot better.
There's a lot of sucky things about it for sure, but it's not a bad game. And my thing with Madden is like they don't change it, like, and the changes they make are negative changes. So
yeah,
it's like they keep making it a little bit worse every year. It's just to release a good version one year so that people are like, oh, it's so amazing, it's the best Madden ever. So that's EA for you. And we'll
kudos
talk about
to you for playing 15-minute quarters.
We'll talk about another EA game on the next part of this show, which we're going to get to in a little while. But I can't believe I went that long on Madden. I really didn't expect to or want to. So let's do yours.
Let's move on to some great RPGs.
Oh yeah, so this I'm really excited to hear your take on it. Oh
yes,
wait,
so
I gave Madden my score, right? 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5.
Yep. It seems so high for a Madden game. People are going to rip on you. They're going to be like, Madden, that's a 1 out of 5.
4.6 out of 10 on Metacritic.
Yeah, we were talking about Metacritic scores earlier, and just how with the big games, it's either people either get the users either give it a 0 or a 10. So it's just such extremes. There's no in between.
I still want to do my user review on Metacritic segment that I came up with a while back. I want to like go on there and like pick out some funny user reviews and read them. Leave a comment if you want to see that in the future.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
All right, so the RPG I played is one that came out on PC recently, and it's been hailed as like the best game of the year by a lot of people.
It's got the highest score on Metacritic of the year, I think, for games.
It released with like really under the radar because it's an indie game made by one guy. It's only like $10 to buy, but it's a great game, and that game is Undertale. And, ironically, I think it had one of the things that caught my eye about it early on is that early when it only had like a few critic reviews, it had a higher Metacritic score than any other game, I believe. And it eventually came down, but it's still in the 90s.
It's a 94 right now, I believe. I'm still trying to find it.
Wow. And so I had to try it out because, I mean, a game that gets that kind of reviews, you have to play it. And here's what I'll say about Undertale. It falls into the pitfalls of many other games that I've talked about, and I've complained to you about this before and on this show, and that is that it relies so much on charm and just being like something new for its high scores. Like Bastion is a big example I can think of, and a lot of people loved Bastion when it came out because it had this charming narrator that tells you everything that's going on. But the core gameplay was horribly repetitive. It didn't feel very rewarding at all to me. I mean, I don't even know if I would rate it a 3 out of 5 if I had to rate it, but I haven't beaten it yet, so Who knows? Undertale, again, it relies on the charm. And the charm is that when you battle enemies, you don't have to fight and kill them. You can sort of do other actions, like talk to them, or like you'll come across dogs as enemies, and like you can pet the dogs and give them attention or not give them attention. And there's ways to defeat every enemy without ever actually fighting and killing them. So these various actions.
There is an immediate comparison that can be drawn between this game and any game in the Mother franchise, right? I mean, that's sort of been the whole. It's like Mother 4 without Mother characters.
It's a game that is very goofy too. Like all the what you're doing in the battles in order to sort of soothe your enemies so that they don't want to fight you, or trick them so that they don't fight you, is like all those different interactions that take place, and every enemy is different in what you need to do in order to defeat it. So it's constantly changing what you're doing in the game, and that's one of the things I love about it. And it's also really goofy. But again, it's just, I feel like a big part of the charm and a big reason people love it is that goofiness, is that it's a change of pace. It's something different, and sometimes you just want something different, and that's what it gives you. But I think it does it at the expense of the other gameplay, and that's why I don't think it's as good as a lot of people are going to say it is, because you're going to go down a linear path. There is very little exploration to this game,
which is odd for an RPG, especially in this day and age.
And there are a lot of RPGs that are like very straightforward and are great regardless. But I mean, I don't know. I just feel like this game needed a little bit more exploration. Another issue that I had with it is, since you're constantly fighting enemies in like sort of the same way, and yeah, they're different. The enemies are different. You never actually feel like you're working towards something. You don't really feel like your character is getting stronger, your character is getting better. You're not getting like new equipment and feeling like you're becoming this all-powerful badass towards the end of the game. And the story itself too, because the characters and everything in it is sort of goofy and quirky, I don't feel like the characters themselves have a lot of personality development, so you're not incredibly invested in these characters. Yes, you're going to have like cute characters and endearing characters that you'll never forget. Like Undyne is one of the boss battles, and she is a very, very cool character when it's all said and done. But in terms of really being emotionally invested, I feel like there's maybe only 2 characters in the game that really speak to me as a person, or really get my emotions going.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's something. I feel like that's something you really need in an RPG, and
yeah, and that's just sort of what it's lacking. Like the Mother 3, like if we talk about the Mother series, Mother 3, the way that Flint acts after a certain point in the story is just really gets me in the feels. Or with Lucas and his brother Klaus, and there's all sorts of moments in like Mother 3 that are like that, and this game doesn't have that for me. So like really, again, what it comes down to is this game is charming and it's different, and what it does well is it gives you a lot of variety in what's charming and quirky about it. In the battles, you're always going to fight different enemies, you're going to come across different areas. But since it lacks the exploration, since it lacks that you really feel like you're building towards something and that you're building your character up, and that lack of emotional connection with the characters in it, for me, that brings it down from a clear 5 out of 5 game to a 4 out of 5. So it's a great game. It is a game you have to play. This game. That is what I'm going to say. You have to play it. Like to other people,
I will be playing
this
it,
might
yes.
be, yeah, it might be the best game of the year for a lot of other people.
And for what it's worth,
that's fine.
If you exclude Grand Theft Auto 5 on PC, this is the number 1 rated game on Metacritic in terms of like the aggregate score, because Metal Gear Solid 5 apparently scored a 95, but only on Xbox One. It's lower on the other platforms. So Undertale currently is a 94. Extremely high praise. A 94 on Metacritic is just like
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a fantastic new experience, and you owe it to yourself to play Undertale. But I'm not going to go so far as to say it's a masterpiece. I'm just going to say it's a really good game. It's a great new experience for a lot of people to have. And yeah, it's a definite bucket list type of game because it sort of throws all those RPG tropes out the window and says, you know what, screw it, we're going to do things our own way.
All right.
So yeah, that's my Undertale review.
All right. One more, and the show is over until part 2, which we're going to do in a minute here. And you'll hear it later, but we're going to record it back to back. So by the end of part 2, we'll just be dying, but you guys will still be listening, hopefully. Mine was also an RPG. I've been talking about it all month. It's Yokai Watch, and I was super hyped for the game when it came out, and just to I was ready to really get that new Pokemon type experience where I just know nothing about any of the characters or anything in the game and just discover everything and explore the world. I was really excited for that. And what I got, I was not disappointed. It was I did have quite a bit of fun exploring. The yokai are all very creatively designed. They're all very charming. They all have these stupid little names that are just kind of funny and stupid. But it was just a really enjoyable experience overall. It's more like an RTS almost, where it's what do you call it? An action RPG, because the yokai control themselves, which can be frustrating. But I feel like if you had the option to control what they did, the game would be way too easy, because it doesn't really have it. It's not nearly as deep as Pokemon is. There's only 4 stats. There's only 5. There's something like 6 different elements or 8 different elements. I can't even remember. There's still a lot for me to discover in this game, so I think I'm gonna keep playing it even after I'm done with it, because I really want to collect more yokai. I have a lot of fun going around and finding them, but then that's where the problem comes in. Where the problems start, I should say. It's not easy to get these yokai to join your team. No, in Pokemon, all you have to do is throw a ball at them and hope that you've weakened them enough to catch them. And if it doesn't work, you can keep trying fairly easily. They're not going to run away or anything. So mostly it just wastes your time. In this game, it wastes your time and it gnaws on your patience, because no matter how much you weaken it, it doesn't matter. You have to knock it out. And maybe it'll join you and maybe it won't. And I can't seem to ever get the ones that I want to join my team. So it's I don't know how to do it. I've collected probably 50 of the 240 something yokai that are in the game, but I don't have most of the ones I want, and I don't know how to get them. There's a way that you can sort of persuade them to join your team. You can throw food at them, and if they like it, they'll join your team. But I have not yet found a single yokai that likes any type of food that I have given them. So
what kind of food are you giving them?
I don't know, cotton candy or a hamburger or just anything. I don't know.
See, the problem is you need to go with pizza. Always pizza.
So I was gonna ask you, do you know when the Splatoon? You're not gonna be in time for the Splatfest, the Pizza versus Burgers Splatfest for this month.
I don't think so. When is it?
I don't even know. I hope it's soon. I haven't seen anything about it, so
well, we'll see. They said I might not get my gamepad back until after Christmas. Which would be unfortunate.
It'll be before that. So well. But would you pick pizza or burgers? I'm definitely a pizza guy.
Pizza.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
QJ said burgers, so now I have to draw a line in the house.
Unless it's hamburger meat on pizza.
Oh man, that's too much of the best of both worlds. You can't do that.
I think you can.
No. But anyway, Yokai Watch. We're all over the place. This is Effortless.
Yeah. What would you give it for a score?
So I'd give it a 4. I'm technically not even done with it yet. I haven't beaten the final boss yet, but I'm not really concerned with it. I've already developed my opinion on the game. I know how it is. It's really cheesy, but it's really charming in that kid's cartoon sort of way. It's perfectly suited to be an anime for the United States, and I would not be surprised if the thing starts to take off after it's sort of had a little while to be on the Disney Channel and for kids to get into it, because it's totally geared towards kids. But at the same time, it also gives you that kind of childlike wonder that you had when you were a kid. And I sort of started to remember what it's like to be a kid, which I haven't really experienced in a while. I've been in the adult world so much that Yokai Watch is actually a really enjoyable escape from it.
The issue is, I don't think it's going to do that well here because it doesn't have a great controversy like children having seizures from watching the TV show.
I think you might be right in terms of the TV show. I think the game has plenty of controversial things, like a talking, walking butt that like walks around, and then when you capture it, it's like, hey, do you want to be friends? We can smell each other's farts. It's disgusting, but it's also
Something
kind of,
about Yokai Watch needs to go viral.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Now that I'm thinking about it,
if anything's gonna go viral, it's gonna be the frickin' theme song to this show, because it's a. Have you heard it?
No.
It's gonna be the end credits to this Effortless. I'm gonna put the whole thing in there so you guys can hear it.
You know, now I'm beginning to wonder if the whole seizure thing in Japan was just a marketing ploy by Nintendo of America to get people excited for Pokemon to come to these states.
Genius.
All right, so unless you have anything else to add, do you?
Just give Yokai Watch a shot. Stop dismissing it, you jerks. It's fun. I give it a 4 out of 5.
Maybe. There's so many other great games to play, like Xenoblade Chronicles X.
For me, well, yeah, now it's too late. Unfortunately, you guys waited too long. But after Xenoblade, maybe you can pick up Yokai Watch at a discount or something. But for me, Yokai Watch, extremely enjoyable experience. I would give it like a 5 for myself, and it might end up on my top 100 for next year.
Oh, wow.
Because like I said, we need to do
that's sort of surprising.
We need to do a top 100 because, again, I need Shovel Knight on my list. But I think I could, not top 50, but for me, top 100, I think.
Okay.
Maybe not for you.
Good deal. Maybe not for me.
Not for everybody.
I have so many games to put in my top 50 that I really sort of feel like I need to make a top 100 now.
Yeah. Man, I can't believe we did an hour right now.
Wow.
We did almost an hour, and that's just part 1.
So, yes, this is the end of part 1. Come back and listen to part 2, where we are going to talk about Battlefront.
Star Wars Battlefront.
Yep, Star Wars Battlefront. We're going to talk a little bit about Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of our top 50. We are down to number 15 through number 6 today, so that's why we're saving it for part 2. We're going to go all the way from 15 to number 6.
Going to do 10 games.
And then, if we have a little bit of time left, we might talk about a little bit more mobile gaming, because
we have a great new segment.
I love nothing more than mobile.
We have a great new segment with mobile games, so...
All right, so for Spiegel, I am Dr. Piddle, and we will see you shortly.
And things go from strange to so much stranger.